Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode here on my channel where I typically come alone and give you tips on self-care to help you support you in life and business so that you have those systems in place so that you're not feeling depleted, but you're actually really energized and focused. And also personally to make sure that you're taking time to smell the roses, as they would say. Today, I have a guest and I'm really excited. Her name is Robynn Powers, and she's a health coach who helps moms improve their energy, strength, and confidence so they can feel and look their best. And I'm going to turn it over to Robynn because I'm sure she has so much more she can tell us about what she does. So Robynn, please welcome, and please tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so good to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Leslie. I am a health coach for busy moms. I help those moms that are just struggling to find the balance, to feel and look good in their bodies, but then also keep up with their busy schedules, their kids and their families, not feel overwhelmed and feel like it's impossible. I just want them to know that it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to feel impossible. And there can just be simple things that you do and that become habits that you don't even have to think about that will get you where you want to be and can create those sustainable lifelong results that you're looking for.
Yeah, and it comes down to habits, right? And it's like
Exactly.
anything that we do, it becomes a habit once it's just on repeat that we don't even think about, like brushing our teeth, making our bed, things like that. They become and reinforced as a habit. We don't even think about it. It's like we're on that autopilot. And those are good habits, obviously, to have. I'm sure there's also bad habits that are on autopilot that,
Yeah.
would be great to
Right.
take a look at as well. And I think one of them too comes down to what we're going to be talking about today, because I think, especially with, like you were saying, you help those busy moms who have not only like their professional lives that they're trying to get all of those ducks in a row and staying present and focused and getting done what they need to get done. But then if they have kids, and depending on where they're at in their lives, whether they're young, whether they're teenagers, even if my mom, she was even the same thing with us as kids, as adults, she still chimes in to give us advice, sometimes unsolicited, but she's a mom and I understand that. So let's talk about that, because I think what you do, you were saying, like, you help those busy moms to be able to have that life, like to have it all kind of lifestyle. So let's talk a little bit more about what that looks like for you as a health coach. Where do you start with your clients?
Usually where I start, so I want to say this. So when I offer a program or offer coaching to these moms, it's not going to look exactly the same for everybody because we all have our own like areas where we struggle with, or we have our own schedules. We have different lives. So it's going to depend on each client kind of individually. But for the most part, a lot of moms are stuck because they need kind of a shift in their mindset. When you're in you have these habits, and especially if they're unhealthy habits, the things that are keeping you stuck, something needs to change in the mind first. You're not going to change any actions until what's happening in your head changes, right? So usually with everybody, we start with kind of the mindset, working on getting you into a place where you are ready to actually make the changes and you really feel motivated to make those changes because it's really what's best for you and really what you need.
Yeah. And I think it does start there, even though, we hear this term mindset used a lot, and a lot of people are probably becoming desensitized to it. But I think the real reason why it's so important, and I think it's a really, like, I'm like you, I start there as well, because no matter what things that you put in place, habits that you try to reinforce or to start new habits, if you have mindset things that you're working through, like limiting beliefs around specific things. For example, you are wanting to get into the best shape of your life, but something happens where, yeah, especially if you're a busy mom, all of a sudden the time that you had set aside for yourself isn't available anymore, or something happens with the kids, and then your time that you set aside to maybe go to the gym or to work out or to go for a walk or whatever that looks like, or to cook a healthy meal. Instead, you reach for the fast food, or you don't have time to cook. So you go through the drive-through for you and the kids or for the family, or you just miss out because you don't have the time. So you skip a workout. I think that can just really play havoc on your beliefs, like saying, yep, I don't have the time. Yep, I know I'm not good enough because look at what I did. I just already reverted right back to buying the fast food again. And I said I wanted to cook healthy for the family, but this got in the way and it got in my head. And so I really believe like what you're doing, what you're saying is that, mindset really is important. How we think, our beliefs, what we're thinking and feeling is really like reinforcing what we believe. And so I think when we can go through that mindset piece first, and that really helps because then everything else can fall into place. So when you find that when you're working with your clients, especially around the first, which I feel is probably, for lack of a better word, challenging areas, is like the mindset piece. What are some of the things that you're finding that is happening more and more with your clients as far as like similar thought patterns or emotional patterns?
I think really them taking a good look at the deeper meaning of why they really want to do it. And it's not just so much, like because we all want to be healthy, right? But that's so general and it doesn't really give you a good picture of what that means. So it's hard to work towards something that's so general and not really specific. And I think also, especially for moms, a lot of times once you start talking about how it's going to affect their kids, like it's not just them because they are super important, they should be the main focus. But when you start saying how it's really going to impact their kids too, that can create more of a motivation and, more of a mindset shift to, oh, wait, okay, this isn't just for me. All these things I do for my kids, doing this for myself will actually help them too. Because if they see me demonstrating the healthy lifestyle, if I'm feeding them healthier stuff, if I'm getting out and running around with them and that motivates them to get out and be active, then that trickles down into the next generation. It helps our kids live a healthier life as they grow up and not struggle with the same things that they might be struggling with now. And so I think that really kind of helps them shift into this is not just for me. This is helping my kids, maybe even their spouse and their whole family, because well, also when we're healthier, we're much nicer people to be around. Right? We're in a better mood. We feel better. We feel more like doing things with our family. So I think a lot of times that helps kind of shift that mindset over into this isn't selfish. This isn't just for me. This helps me, but it also helps everybody around me.
Yeah, and so I love that. One of the things I think, well, now that we've gotten to this part of it, which I think is really going to be relevant to self-care in general, is sleep. Because we've talked about this in previous conversations. We know how important sleep is. That is, it's vital for not only our physical health, but our mental, emotional health. So I'm sure that you've probably come across this with the clients that you've worked with. What do you believe happens when we don't get that adequate, good quality sleep, especially as a busy mom?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it affects every single part of your life if you don't get enough sleep. Anywhere from the mood that you're in, the stress that you're feeling, and, just feeling tired doesn't even feel good. Everybody knows if you don't get enough sleep, you feel tired, right? And a lot of moms just live their lives tired, but without probably realizing a lot of the other things that are happening within your body and other than just feeling tired. I mean, it can not just be like today I'm not happy because I'm not tired, but it can actually lead to actual depression, not just, I'm not happy today, but going long term, it makes you more irritable. So you think about that when you're interacting with your kids, being, snapping at them all the time. It doesn't create a good relationship with your family members either when you feel this, not to mention the physical things that are happening within your body that are keeping you from feeling healthy, long term, not just on a daily basis. Changes different hormones within your body that are affecting how you eat. Like I said, the stress, the amount of fat storage or ability to lose fat. There's just all kinds of different things going on within you when you don't get the quantity and the quality of sleep.
Yeah. So for you, from your experience, what have you found are maybe signs that someone could actually look for that they're sleep deprived?
Honestly, I think a lot of the moms that I talk to, they know that they're not getting enough sleep, and it's usually the quantity because they're either, depending on what's going, how old their kids are, that can make a difference. But, a lot of us are just like, and I used to be this way, so I know, like, okay, the kids are to bed. This is my time, right? You talk about self-care, that's your thing, right? So you're like, oh, this is my self-care time. I'm going to do things for me, or I'm going to get things done that I couldn't get done when the kids were awake. And you think that's like self-care and you think that's good for you. But then when you only get 6, maybe 5 hours of sleep, and you wake up the next day feeling horrible again, that's not really self-care. It's a sacrifice, it's a trade-off, but it's not really helping you.
Yeah. So what would you say though? I mean, because I know personally, I'm not a mom. I don't have some of those stressors like a mom would have. She has her kids, like you said, your children, you want the best for them. So you're making sure that their needs are taken care of. If you're married, or you have a partner, you're making sure your partner's needs are taken care of. And then at the end of the day, a lot of people say, oh, these morning routines, evening routines. I kind of look at self-care as being how can you fill your cup throughout your entire day, not just in specific like time frames that people talk about. So in your experience then, especially as a mom, how does a mom go from feeling like that, oh, I have to put everyone else first, to the mindset, oh, if I put myself first, then they're going to get the better version of me because I'm taking care of me.
I think it goes back to what I kind of touched on before is, when they think about it as this is just for me, they're like, even then they think, okay, I need it, but they're not as likely to really make it happen because they might feel like it's a little selfish of them to just take that time for them and say, well, no, my kids need me, so I'm just going to push that back. Like I'll get to it sometime. But when you start talking about how it actually affects them as in their relationship with their kids or their spouse, and how it's really not just for them. It's for building a stronger relationship with your family members and being there for them and being actually more alert and present and being in a better mood and wanting to do things because your energy is not drained from not getting enough sleep. I think that kind of pushes them towards saying, okay, wait, this really is going to help. It's helping me. It's going to help them. So, it just comes right back to what we do doesn't impact just us. It impacts the people that we love, the people that we care about.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I think also it comes down to being okay to give yourself permission that it's okay to put yourself first. But again, we live in a society, and especially I think as women, as again, I can say that I'm not a mom, but just from experience watching my mom, watching other moms that I know, that when it comes to what their day looks like, the first thing on their minds is who am I serving? How am I serving them? And it's like getting them out of that mindset to push them into like, okay, serve me first, like the whole, air, the oxygen mask analogy on the plane, serve myself first, then I can take care of the others better. In your experience, when you're working with your clients, when after the mindset piece of it, where do you typically take them? Because it is that mind, body, soul, or I've heard it said the mindset, health set, heart set, soul set type of thinking. So where would you take them next to help them lean into like, okay, taking care of me is really important. I want to continue doing that.
Yeah, so after I start with the mindset with everybody because I think that obviously that's a shift that needs to be made if they're feeling stuck and struggling because you're not going to get anywhere without believing that you should. So from there, this is where it becomes more of an individualized coaching because it depends on what we take a look at different things, what might actually be holding them back. And One of the number one, I start with sleep. Like, how much sleep are you getting? Are you getting good quality sleep? Are you waking up multiple times? Are you feeling like you're tossing and turning? And start working there. And then from there, we talk about stress and self care. Because if you're stressed all the time, you are not going to be feeling good. You're not going to be feeling healthy. That change, you're releasing the cortisol. It affects so many things within your body, short term and long term. You're higher risk for things like diabetes and cancer and heart disease if you're stressed all the time, or even not getting enough sleep increases cortisol, which is causing more stress in your life. So those are kind of my big things, is the self-care and the stress to start off with. And then we get down to the things that most people are thinking, like, what am I eating? What's my nutrition? Hydration. I found that so many moms are not getting enough water, and that can really affect your energy levels, but it also can affect either achieving or maintaining a healthy body weight, flushing out toxins from your body, which is going to help you obviously feel better and feel well more often. Talk about just like more of a well-rounded, I guess, healthy approach, not just if I just exercise more, or if I just eat less, because I never think eating less is ever really the issue. Eating better, adding things that are actually going to help you, not just eating more or less food, but what you're eating, what you're putting into your body. So those kind of things kind of all come together to create that healthy lifestyle and make them feel better, so they can feel more motivated and feel more energized to actually do the things that they should be doing to keep that going.
Yeah, and it just comes down to taking care of yourself the best that you can, but it can be really super challenging. Well, I know one of the things that I've heard, and just even to incorporate self-care, is time. And so, they say like, I don't have the time. I'm doing XYZ in the morning. I just don't have the time. During the day, I'm really super busy. At night, I have all of these things to do. I just don't have the time. And when it is my time, I'm exhausted. I just want to roll into bed. So, how have you managed to help someone shift their mindset around time?
I think a lot of times you have to really take a good look at what is using your time, because so many, yes, we all feel busy, right? We're like, well, we always have things to do. But if you start really looking at what you actually spend your time on every day, if there's something that you really, really think is important to do, you will get it done, right? Whereas if you think like, okay, yeah, I should work out or I should do this or whatever, but you're not really committed to it, then you probably won't make the time. You'll be scrolling on Facebook or, whatever. There are definitely time wasters throughout our day that could be cut down on if we want to make time for the things that are actually important to us, the things that are actually going to impact our lives for the better. It's all about looking at your priorities and scheduling things in that make a difference. So if you just say, oh, yeah, I think I'm going to work out this week, it's not going to happen. If you look at your calendar and say, oh, okay, I have, and I think a big problem with, something like working out, people are like, oh, I got to go spend an hour at the gym, or it's not even going to be worth it. That's not true. You can fit fitness in throughout your day. It doesn't have to be, an hour in the morning. It doesn't even have to be an hour a day. If you get up and do 5 minutes of movement here and there throughout your day, it's going to add up. It doesn't have to be all done at once. So it's not like you have to have that huge block of time, and it's not like it's not all or nothing. Even if you skip a day because it just, things change, things happen, and maybe, yeah, you actually couldn't fit it in, but that doesn't mean you should just give up. It's not like, well, I didn't do today, so I guess I won't do it the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Because it's not really that big a deal if you miss one. What's the big deal is if you miss one and decide that it's just not worth it to even try anymore.
Yeah. And that's the whole mindset where if you miss, like you said, miss a day, then you're beating yourself up saying, see, I failed again. Or maybe you didn't eat as healthy today as you did yesterday. And again, then you beat yourself up thinking, oh, I messed up. And then you go down that road. And I love the fact that time, especially for exercise, it doesn't have to look the same as everyone else. A lot of people get hung up on that self care has to look the same as whatever other people are talking about. There's the morning routine, the evening routine, the having 5 or 6 things. What I say is take what really resonates with you and try it out, but really give it a good go. Like give yourself at least, they say that was 21 days, I think it is, to just at least get a habit started. And then I think it's 90 days to really infuse it as a lifestyle. But it's just like taking that time, if you will, to try at least putting it into your schedule. Again, you could want to go to the gym, but saying it is one thing, but the action has to follow. And the time part, what I usually do is I have them look at what they actually do daily by writing it down. I just use a simple Google Doc form for myself. Like I have my calendar, of course, my Google Calendar, but I have a Google Doc form that I actually have from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then I'll write in all of like I have my morning routine. So that's set in stone. So I usually don't start work until around 10, 11. And so I have all of this time before that I can do whatever I choose. And then whatever's set in stone, work related, whether it's interviews, whether it's a podcast or YouTube or client or networking or whatever that is on that date, it's set in the time slot. And what that does is it shows me all the white space, which I think is so calming, because if I have a gap between, like, for example, today, I have you today that I'm recording with, and then I don't have another recording until 4 o'clock. So look at all that white space in between. I don't have anything else, no other meetings set up. What that does for me is it's calming because it shows me that I actually do have time. It's showing that you actually have time in your day, that you're not really always in the doing, but unless you can see it, what you're actually doing, sometimes I'm like a visual person. So sometimes having that visual reminder is like, oh yeah, okay, I do actually have time. So how can I fill it, not fill it to overextend yourself, but fill it to really like empower, to help you through your day, whatever it is that you decide to put in there. And I think that's been most freeing for me and for the women that I've worked with. So one of my questions that I'd like to ask you is back to sleep, because I really want to not so much hammer this home, but to really like get people thinking about the importance of sleep. Like you've talked about how it impacts, like it does impact our immune system. It does impact like other areas like learning, our memory, our metabolism too. And especially
Yes.
if you're an older woman, like I'm an older woman, so I'm 60, just to give in context. So I've already gone through menopause, which means there's certain reasons why the sleep, the quality sleep, but the quantity of sleep also is important for me to pay attention. So for when the women that you've worked with, especially when you know their lifestyle, what have you found for them when you've worked with them to work through this and to actually start paying attention to those things? How much sleep have you found for your clients has been the most beneficial?
It's really based on the individual. In general, they should be getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. But they say, exactly how much sleep should I get? And I said, well, if you were to be able to just sleep and wake up without an alarm, how long does it take for you to not feel groggy and, so tired when you wake up? Like, how much sleep do you need to just naturally wake up and feel like, okay, I'm ready to get up, not, oh my gosh, I need to go back to sleep. And if they're getting, more than 9 hours of sleep and they're still feeling like that, then it's probably not a quantity issue. It's probably a quality issue. And they might not even realize it, because a lot of times we wake up at night and don't even remember that we woke up. We don't know if we're coming in and out of sleep necessarily because we just don't remember it, right? So if that's the issue, that they're actually sleeping long enough, but just not getting the good quality sleep, there's some things that they can do. It's kind of, trial and error. Like, okay, what is this that's actually keeping them from getting good quality sleep? Because we know if we're getting the quantity, generally, we know when we fall asleep, we know when we wake up. So things like not having the TV on or not looking at our phones or tablets right before bed, unless we have like a blue light blocker, which could help because it messes up your circadian rhythm. It makes us feel alert. Our body's not ready to sleep if we're doing those things. one that people don't like to hear a lot of times is not having alcohol before you go to bed. So yes, I know a lot of moms out there like to have their glass of wine. Kids aren't going to bed. Let me have my glass of wine. It actually, like, it sounds nice, but it really interrupts your sleep. Even though you don't realize it, you think, oh no, it makes me feel sleepy. It's good. Yes, it makes you feel sleepy, but it takes away from the quality of your sleep because it actually interrupts it. Your body is then trying to process that alcohol instead of trying to clear the toxins and do its reset and healing, which is what it's supposed to do while it's sleeping. So, yeah, there's like a number of things that we go through saying, okay, well, are you doing this? Are you doing this? Is this maybe causing you to not have the quality of sleep that you want? And there's, several things that we can take a look at.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up about the quality of sleep, because one of the things actually I read an article back in January, I think it was January or February of this year, by Shape Magazine about positioning yourself for a better sleep. And I was fascinated because they were talking a little about your positioning, meaning like how you sleep, whether you're sleeping on your back, whether you're sleeping on your side. And, a couple of things that I found out is that the best sleeping position, of course, they say is on your back, but that's only if you don't suffer from sleep apnea. So if somebody has sleep apnea, it's the worst sleeping position because the how our throat and our belly are pulled down by gravity, and it makes it harder for you to breathe. And so if you're that person who suffers from that, this is not going to be a great sleeping position. But then the second best one was sleeping on your side, but it's not on your right
It's
side,
on your
it's
left
on your
side.
left
Yeah.
side. And I was always a right side sleeper, and
Mhm.
I never recognized that all of our cardiovascular system is on the right side of our body, which I didn't understand that. I thought, what do you mean? And so when you're laying on your right, you're constricting your rib cage and you're straining your lungs. Now, this is according to science. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to try this out. So for the past several months, I started to train myself to sleep on my left side. And what I've found is I'm sleeping much deeper, longer, because I've always been one of those people that does wake up throughout the night. I do I do drink water. I have water by my nightstand. So I do drink water throughout the night. I get thirsty. And so I'm up and maybe I'll go to the bathroom a couple of times, but I do find that I'm still going back into sleep, into a deeper sleep, and I'm waking up rested. So I just found it fascinating, and I thought, I'm going to try this out and see how this affects me. And I found that because I did that, it really did change my sleep quality. I do go to bed earlier because I want to make sure that, because I'm one of those people who gets up, that I'm going to get at least that quality and quantity of sleep that I can get. And so I'm making sure, like you were saying, no TV. Well, I'm not really one to have I don't have a TV in the room, so I don't have that on. I don't have my laptop on or my phone on for me before, I wind down. I make sure that, and because I set it and forget it, like my alarm is set and it's on my phone, and I'm done. And so I found like that really makes a difference when you pay attention to and set yourself up that way to have that quality sleep so that you're not tossing and turning. And I love what you were saying about the alcohol. I started noticing if I had that glass of wine just before bed, you're thinking, oh, this is making me sleepy. What I've found, and I don't know if you have anything that you can add to that, but what I have found is that I have woken up and felt harder to go back to sleep. Is there a connection there that you know of?
I'm not really sure about as far as having a harder time going back to sleep. It might have more to do with like stage of sleep that you were
Hmm.
in
Yeah,
when you woke up. But scientifically, I don't really know why it would be harder to go back to sleep if you had had alcohol before
yeah.
going to bed.
But I have read that it does make a difference in your sleep patterns or quality of sleep, drinking alcohol before bed. I just wasn't sure what exactly was happening to me. So I think I'm going to do some research on it, but I appreciate that you came on today. Is there anything that you wanted to share to leave our viewers with around what you do? If you have something that you're doing, that you're offering, I'll make sure that I put it in the show notes as well. Any links that you want to share with me. But is there something that specifically that you wanted to leave our viewers with?
Really, I just want to say stop sacrificing sleep to do other things that you think you need to get done before you go to bed. Because honestly, if you get enough sleep, you'll probably get it done better the next day. You'll feel more focused. You will actually be more productive. You will have less stress while you're getting things done. So even though you feel like you need to sacrifice sleep to do other things, it's really not a good trade-off. Take care of yourself. If you feel better, your whole life will be better. Your relationships will be better. It really is important. You're important. The people that you love are important, and it really is worth it. As far as things, if you want to get in touch with me, I think, Leslie, you're going to put some notes in. As far as, I have a group for moms, it's a free group you can come into. Pretty soon I'll be offering a workshop online to talk about what things could be keeping you stuck and feeling frustrated, and helping you set those simple habits, helping you figure out what those are so that you can get started on your journey to better health. And then I gave to Leslie the 15 ways to improve your sleep, and that has to deal with quantity and quality. So if you
Yeah.
want to grab that, that would be great.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much again for coming on today. I've appreciated having you here. When we talked the first time, it really resonated with me. Someone else was talking about the importance of sleep because we know we don't sleep well and we wake up exhausted or we wake up cranky. We're not going to have the best day. So it's really important, I think, along with mindset, of course, we know is so important how we manage our days, but also if we don't have that sleep is going to actually play havoc with our mindset. So it really does, it can really affect you in a negative way if you're not resting well. So thanks again, Robyn. I appreciate that you came on today. And again, I will make sure to put in the show notes all the ways that you can get in touch with her, including her free offer, as well as what she's got coming up. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Remember to navigate your days with an attitude of gratitude, because with the right attitude, it will help you with the right mindset to show up for your day to day life. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you again soon.